Alright guys, today I'm going to try and get this lid going here. What my plan is to, let me move this out of the way. Basically I got the flat drum lid here. So what I plan on doing is basically taking the drum lid or the Weber lid, setting it on here, and basically welding along this bead, spot weld it or tack weld it all the way around to get it to attach. And then once that's complete, I'm going to basically cut along here to open it up, and that way I'm using the stock lip from the drum lid. I'm using the stock rim, I guess you would call it, to seal the drum up. So my only issue is the drum lid's a little bit warped and the Weber lid's a little bit warped. So I gotta try and straighten them out somehow. So, but as an update, I got the extension pipe up for the ball valve. I got the 3/4 inch cap nipples down there for intake. I got 2 of those. So all in all, it's coming along. It's looking good. So I think this is going to be the toughest part right here, is to get this lid on. All right, guys. Got the lid strapped to the top of the drum lid. Did a 4-point strap system on it just to hold it in place while I get some tack welds. This porcelain coating on these Weber lids is really tough to get off. Hopefully I got enough of it off. We'll see what happens. If not, I'm just going to do a couple of tack welds right now and see if it holds. If it holds, then I'll go ahead and do the full bead all the way around, doing little bits at a time. You don't want to, from what I've been reading online, I'm not a real good welder, or I'm a novice at welding, so, but you don't want to go real long distances for a long time because you'll warp the metal. So I'm just going to do a couple of tack welds, about maybe once every 6 inches, and then fill in those about, split those tacks, and I'm just going to keep going, working my way around. So I'm just going to just start doing that. We'll see what happens. All right. I gotta turn up my wire feed. Alright, so I got some good tack welds in there. They're not the best. They're holding though. So I just got to shape them up a little bit. I had some blow through, so I got to figure out how I'm going to fix that. But for the most part, some of them took pretty good, and like I said, it's holding. So I already cut out the parts. So now all I got is this. This is the lip from the drum. So that actually worked out the way I wanted it to, because in that way any moisture or anything like that accumulates in the lid when it's smoking will run down that lip and then drip inside the drum. So I'm good with that. So I just got to figure out how I'm going to seal it up now as far as the welds are concerned. I don't want to go all the way around like I was originally wanting to, just because I was getting some major blow through. As you can see, I got some holes there and stuff, and then my welding, I really got to practice my welding. So, but that's part of learning, and that's why I wanted to get the welder. I'm using the Harbor Freight 90 amp flux flux core welder. So it's done good for me so far. I think it's just a little bit too much for sheet metal, because I had it set on minimum, and with my wire speed, maybe 1.5, 2, which is what the chart says in there. But I was still getting some blow through on the lid. I didn't get any blow through on the drum lid. All my blow through was on the Weber lid. So I'm not sure what gauge that is, but it's got to be smaller than 22 gauge. So, but that's where it sits right now. And as soon as I figure out a way to get that sealed up around that lip, I'll be good. My next step is to I bought some rope gasket. So this is my next step. This is gonna lay in here like so. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but you get the idea. So, and that's gonna seal up. I always told myself I didn't want to be one of those guys that did one-handed videotaping and trying to show stuff, but here I am doing it. But there you go. Oh, you get the idea. But this is rope gasket I got from True Value. It was sold by the foot. I ended up getting 12 feet of it. 12 feet of it for 79 cents a foot. That is the 3/8 inch. So that's gonna fit. That fits really well in there, and I can actually stretch it out a little bit. It looks a little bit thicker than 3/8 right now, but I've already had it in there and stretched it out a little bit, so I can actually take up a little bit less room if I wanted to, and make it not as thick. So that'll give me a real good airtight seal on the lid. Obviously, once I get all the crappy welding sealed up. So, and I'm gonna do the same thing to the 30-gallon lid as well. Still, like I said, I still got to get a Weber lid. So, but basically the same design on this as the 50-gallon. So that's why I ended up getting 12 feet of it. Wanted to make sure I had enough, and I definitely gonna have more than enough, it looks like. So, but should take about maybe 5 feet to go around there, and 4 feet around there. So it gives me about 3 feet to play with, if I did my math right. So, all right, guys. Well, like I said, I got my son recording now for me, so I can use 2 hands. But earlier I made one out. I don't know if I'm going to include it in there or not. I'll probably edit it out. Anyways, come in here, Rob. This is the lip. Here's a rope gasket that I'm going to use. I'm going to put this all the way around. That should give me a nice tight, airtight fit around the whenever I got the lid on. Then that way no smoke will escape. Of course, I'm going to have this sealed in there. I bought some red RTV, some high temp RTV. So there you go. It's basically going to sit like that, and I'll trim it off, get the RTV in there to set up, and then probably tape it down so it can, well, you get the idea. So there you go. All right, so here's where I stand right now. I practiced a little bit more on the welding. It's hard to see them here, but got a little bit better. I sanded them down, ground them down, kind of smoothed them out a little bit. Still got a lot of blow through that I need to try and repair. Idea I came up with that is I got some of this quick steel reinforced epoxy putty from the auto parts store. So it says drinking water safe and can withstand up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 2 times the amount I like smoking at. So I like smoking at right 225, 250, so it should be fine. So I'm gonna go from there and try and fill in these holes that I got right here. So I got some big ones there. I tried filling them in with the welder and it just wasn't working. I was getting even more blow through. I think once it starts going, it weakens the metal. I don't know, maybe some of the welders out there can chime in. But so I'm gonna fill these up with this putty, and I got a little bit, and then I'm gonna try and figure out, not figure out, but I'm gonna try, hopefully this putty will last me. I ended up getting 3 tubes of it, so, but I'm gonna try and go around the entire perimeter of it, of the lid and the drum here, to smooth it out, clean it up a little bit. The stuff is paintable. It's sandable and paintable once it's cured. So going back to my modeling days where I was building plastic models and using a lot of putty to fill in the, you know, the mold seams and stuff like that. So go back to them days. Hopefully they'll pay off. Okay, so I used the quick steel there and went around the perimeter, and I think this is gonna work. I'll find out here in about an hour when I come back and it's set up. It's already starting to set up a little bit where I started, but all I did was I basically would cut off about 1/2 inch of the tube, or off the putty, and then I would knead it in the, basically roll it around in my hand and knead it up for probably about a minute. It starts curing in about 5 minutes, or it starts curing in 5 minutes, and then it's fully set up in an hour. So I would knead it in my hand for about a minute, and then I would roll it out into like a spaghetti noodle, kind of like what we do with Play-Doh when we're kids. You know, roll it around, or roll it into a spaghetti noodle, basically. I didn't quite make it all the way around with one tube. So we actually have another thing we have to go to. So I'm at a stopping point. So I'm going to go do that, and I'll come back tonight, and I will finish going around the perimeter and see how this stuff sands off. So, but looks like it's gonna work. It should give me a nice, real nice airtight seal around the lid and the Weber lid and the drum lid. So I don't see any air getting through this stuff. And then once I get the rope gasket around the bottom of that lip, the lid is basically going to be done. All I'm going to have to do is just sand it down a little bit to smooth out the edges, and then I'll be ready for my first coat of paint. So, all right, well, working inside today because of some snow outside. Decided to snow and be cold, so the garage isn't as comfortable to work in. Could have the heater on, but this was just a quick project anyways, or a quick portion of this project. So what I did was I finished putting the silicone, or not the putty around the edge. So I'm waiting on that to cure. Gotta wait an hour, and then I'll be able to go out and sand that down. In the meantime, while I'm waiting on that to cure, I put a bead of the red high temp RTV around the lip right here, which is going to take the rope gasket. So that's what I'm going to work on here. I'm going to pause the video, and I'm going to go ahead and get that around, and I'll come back when I'm done. All right. Well, got the rope gasket in, so just gotta wait for it to cure as well. It takes about an hour for the red silicone to set up, so wait about a half an hour and come back by and just press it in a little bit more once it starts to set up. So other than that, now it's a waiting game for curing, and then I'll go out and sand down the putty and see what else I can come up with. Alright, back in the garage. I got it all sanded down. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna put a real quick coat of the high temp primer on here. and see where I missed. It's kind of hard to tell. I got a little divot right there I can feel, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy with this. I think it's gonna look really good once I get a coat of paint and you really can't see it. So again, what I'm doing is, or what I'm using is some of the VHT flame proof. So 1300 to 2000 degrees. It was the only primer that they had. You notice I got it sitting on one of these little coffee cup warmers. What that does is, since it's been cold out, I mean, it snowed last night, so what this does is it gets the can hot, and then not hot, but it keeps it warm. So then you get a better vaporization coming out of the can. So I learned this little trick I got from a gentleman in my RC helicopters that does custom painted helicopter bodies, canopies for them. So, but I'm gonna put this coat of paint on here real quick, or coat of primer on here, see how it looks, and I'll be back. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you how well this atomizes after it's been warmed up on one of those little cup warmers. I had it sitting on there for probably about an hour while I sanded the putty down, and I also did some welding on the drum. I welded a stabilizer bar to the extended pipe for the ball valve. It was loose, so I didn't want that getting wore out down there too much and starting to get an air leak. So while I worked on that, I had the can of VHT on that little warmer. So let's see what this looks like here. As you can see, it flows up real well when it's warmed up. So now what I didn't try and get all the porcelain coating off that Weber lid. It's just way too tough. So all I did was I just scuffed it up with a wire wheel. We'll see what happens. Just kind of doing a brush coat. This stuff is flowing really well though. So it's covering really, really good. Trying to record and paint at the same time. Kind of getting off camera. Shake it up a little bit more. Probably getting you seasick shaking the camera. All right, that looks pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with it. Hopefully I'll be able to get a burn in on this thing this weekend. I got the in-laws coming, so been rushing to try and get it done. Smoke a turkey, maybe a brisket. I got a turkey and a brisket sitting in the freezer right now. So we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching.